Well, we got some surf today, but it's pretty small, pretty weak little wind swell. Should be a pretty easy paddle out. Beautiful day out. Let's get out there. Let's do this.
Let's go.
Hey guys, what is happening? Welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Lost Horizon Fishing. Just launched off of Bolsa Chica State Beach. Beautiful day, small surf, very light winds, and beautiful blue skies. Can't beat it. The knot-tied fish activity report for today is not very good, so it's hard to say how we're going to do fish-wise. But at least we can enjoy this beautiful day. And today I'm going to do my 1-year review, 1 year of ownership of this beautiful Stealth Fisha 555. And I'm going to tell you about all the good stuff and even a couple of things that bug me a little bit about it. So hey, let's get started. When I bought the Stealth Fisha 555, believe it or not, I bought it completely sight unseen. I had never seen a Stealth Kayak in person. I was going strictly by what I'd seen on YouTube. I didn't know anybody that owned one, and I never got to see one before I bought it. But I went ahead and took a leap of faith and went ahead and bought it. And because there was a few features that I really wanted that you really can't get with the Hobie Mirage Drive kayaks. The main feature, of course, is this big fish hatch where you can store all your gear inside when you're going through the surf and when you're coming back to the beach. And also I wanted a kayak that was really safe for offshore fishing. And by offshore, I just mean open water. Launching off the beach in the surf, something that would be safe no matter what. And this thing definitely ticks all those boxes. One thing that I didn't expect after I bought this thing was the paddling versus pedaling. In order to get the features I wanted, I was willing to sacrifice the Mirage Drive, which is pretty awesome. You definitely can't short sell the features of hands-free fishing, that's for sure. But I was willing to sacrifice that and compromise and start paddling in order to have a kayak that was super safe, one that would protect my gear, and one that would do a better job negotiating the surf. But what I discovered was I love paddling. You know, there's something about it. There's a rhythm to it. It requires more technique than pedaling. And you also have to be in a little better shape too. For most of us, our legs are used to carrying us around all day. So typically your legs are going to be stronger than your arms. So you definitely have to be in a little better shape to do this. But I was shocked how quickly that I grew to just love paddling. I really enjoy it. Not all paddles are created equal. Here are the two paddles that I use with the Stealth Fisha 555. I started out with this paddle. This is the Werner Callista. It is all carbon fiber. It's 230 centimeters long and it weighs in at a light 25 ounces. This is a touring style paddle, which is also good for fishing. And the claim to fame with this paddle is it's awesome for all-day paddling sessions. It's very ergonomic, and it's a really good paddle when you're going to be out on the water all day. But where it falls short is in the surf. It is not a good paddle when you're in the surf because it's not designed for rapid acceleration. So eventually, I transitioned over to this paddle. This paddle is made by Epic, and it's their small mid-wing paddle. It's got carbon fiber blades, but a fiberglass shaft, and it also weighs in at 25 ounces, and it's just a straight shaft paddle. But this is more of a high angle, more aggressive paddle. And this thing is awesome for going 0 to 5 miles an hour, bam, 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 lickety split. Really good for rapid acceleration. But there's a trade-off. No paddle's perfect. Where this paddle gets me is if I'm going to be out on the water for 4 hours or 5 hours or even longer, this paddle will really wear you down. So let me leave you with this thought. When you go to buy a paddle, always try to get the best paddle you can afford. You don't want to buy a $2,000, a $3,000, or $4,000 kayak and then go to Walmart and buy a $100 paddle. Always get the best paddle you can afford. Well, you're probably wondering why I believe that the Stealth Kayak here is much safer for open water fishing. And there's actually a couple reasons for it. Number one is you got an incredibly low center of gravity in this thing. I mean, my heels are below sea level, my butt's below sea level, so it just makes the thing incredibly stable. So if you get caught in a situation where maybe you stayed out on the water a little longer than you should have and the wind has come up, basically with this thing you just batten down the hatches, get all your equipment back inside the hull, fish finder, everything's going to be in there. Once those hatch straps are pulled down tight and the rear hatch is locked down, it doesn't matter what happens. You could flip the kayak 50 times on the way back to shore and you would have no significant amount of water inside the hull. Now, it's not waterproof. Water always finds a way, but I'm talking, you know, maybe a couple of ounces might get in there by the time you make it back to shore. You're never going to have to get a little hand bilge pump and get water out of the inside, because that just never happens. So it's just nice to know that no matter what, your kayak's not going to get flooded. Another thing that's really nice about this is that when you do end up in the water, and trust me, that does happen, you can get back on this thing in a matter of seconds. Because it's so narrow, it's really easy to flip back over. And because it's so low to the water, it's just almost like crawling back on top of the surfboard. It takes very little effort at all. Check out this clip right here. You can see just how quick and easy it is. And that's a real benefit out here. Hey, you don't want to end up in the water and then try to figure out how you're going to get back in your kayak, especially if you're fishing alone like I do quite often. I hate to use this cliche, but when it comes to the fish hatch on the Stealth Kayak, it definitely applies, and that cliche is game changer. That cliche is way overused in the world of fishing, but when it comes to paddling through the surf, launching off the beach, paddling back to the beach, knowing that all your gear is safely stored inside here, man, it just mentally makes surf launches so much easier. You don't ever have to worry about having a yard sail. A yard sail, if you're not familiar with that term, is where you flip your kayak and items that aren't properly tethered go floating away. You'll see that in many a kayak fishing video. And with this thing, it's not possible, because once everything's packed inside, there's just nothing loose. It's basically just me and the paddle on top. Everything else is safely stored away. And that changed everything for me. I used to always be so worried about flipping my kayak every time I launched it. And with this, I don't even think about it anymore. Now, before I talk about a couple of things that do bug me about this, and they're really minor issues, one thing I can definitely say, if you're a younger guy in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, and you're in good shape, maybe you have a surfing background or a swimming background, man, you could dominate in one of these. They paddle fast, they track straight. It's just a beautiful platform to fish off of. But yeah, you could go, I mean, I'm 68 years old, so I'm far from being a young guy. But yeah, if you and a buddy had one of these, I would not hesitate to paddle out to the mussel farm, make a lot more trips, out to Iser's Reef. You could basically go anywhere. You can cover a lot of ground in these. And like I said, a young guy, you can just dominate. You'd be able to paddle circles around your buddies and pedal kayaks for sure. Well, there are no perfect kayaks, and this one, of course, is no exception. And there are a couple really minor things that bug me. Number one, I'm always sitting in a pool of water. It's such a low sitting position. It doesn't matter what kind of day it is, whether there's waves or wind or whatever, that seat pan always has water in it. Can't complain too much because the super low sitting position is also one of the reasons this thing is so stable going through the surf and in rough ocean conditions. So that is definitely a minor complaint. And the last thing that bugs me, and this is a little bit more of a pain, is my rear hatch. A couple times, actually 3 times to be exact, when I've had unfortunate incidents where the kayak got back to the beach before I did when I was coming in through the surf. Typically it'll end up upside down, floating in a couple feet of water right near shore when I finally swim in to get it. And there's been 3 times where the rear hatch somehow came open. The first time it happened, I thought, okay, maybe I didn't latch it all the way, or maybe I didn't check it. But the second 2 times it happened, it was definitely latched. And it's not like the latch is weak. I mean, it has a nice positive action to it. You check out that clip right there. But I think what happens is, I think when the kayak goes upside down and starts bouncing along, I think the force of the water hits the edge of that lever and kicks it into the open position. That's the only thing I can say. So I need to put a little secondary lock on there. I'd be really interested in any of you other stealth guys out there if you've had that same problem. So how would I sum up ownership of the Stealth Fisha 555 over the last 13 months? I would say definitely I love it. Met all my expectations. Totally awesome for negotiating the surf. Just a great platform to fish off of. And definitely I don't regret that purchase for 1 second, that's for sure. My poor Hobies haven't got much use. A couple subscribers have asked me, hey, when are you going to do a spotted bay bass episode? And I keep saying, oh yeah, I'm going to do it. But then I'm so addicted to this right now, I just haven't been able to convince myself to do it. Because one thing I love being out here in the open water. This is definitely my happy place. Well, hey guys, I'm going to call it quits. I am worn out. I'm back here at my launch spot at Tower 17 at Bolsa Chica State Beach. I hope you guys enjoyed the information about the Stealth Fisha 555, the 1-year review. If you're thinking about buying one, I highly recommend it. Can't go wrong for launching in the surf and fishing off the beach out in open water. You couldn't ask for a better kayak. So hey guys, do me a favor, smash that like button, subscribe, and tap the notification bell so you know when the latest Lost Horizon fishing videos are released. And as always, I will see you out on the water.